just a great song to wrap up an amazing week 5. Welcome back, everyone, to our next video here that is our recap of what happened with this last week, which would be our week 5. Some excitement, some disappointment, some very close matchups, some huge points scored. I haven't checked yet. I don't know still what the highest score is in this league. Probably when I get a chance here, I will do that. But I know we had someone score 170 this week, and that's probably pretty darn close if it is the highest point scored. But yeah, just an amazing week. Some high points scored, and just a lot of fun overall. And just think, we are 5 weeks into the season. And we have 9 weeks remaining. So not quite halfway, but far enough, right, that you probably know about where you stand for this year and already starting to make some plans on what the second half or even the second 2/3 of the season are going to look like. So, all right, so let's jump in and kind of recap how did the matchups go, and especially based on how I picked. So we'll start here. Let's go back to week 5. Leave mine to the end. And we started with Sean and Adam, right? And my prediction was on the Sean bandwagon. I said Sean was actually going to get the win. I think these two teams were really close. I said all positions were right about neutral, in the middle. 2 1-3 teams. It was all really, really close. I picked Sean, and I got to stop picking you, Sean. I don't think I ever have luck in trying to decide. I mean, I guess you do lose on certain weeks when I say you're going to lose. It just doesn't seem like hardly ever do you get the win when I predict you to win. You're probably better off with me just picking you to lose every single week and then just taking your luck from there. But by picking you to win, I mean, you scored 134 points, which is good. It would beat the majority of the other teams, right? It just didn't beat Adam, who scored 149 points. Probably, I believe, one of his, if not his, highest week so far this year. And he needed it to outscore Sean there. But so Adam gets the win, moves to 2-3, but I got it wrong. So I'm 0-1 to start off with. Next one here was Josh and Jay. I was on the Josh bandwagon. I said that Josh had the running back, quarterback, kicker. Jay might have wide receiver, and kind of the same story as what Sean had, right? Jay scored 131 points, which very respectable. On most weeks would give him the win. But damn, when you play a team that scores 170 points, that's just unreal. And looking at Josh's lineup, like, he has some players in the red. So there were even opportunities. I mean, heck, he could have even scored better. And Nico Collins, went out with an injury pretty early in the game. Imagine what he could have done if he would have stayed in that entire game. But Josh, just across the board, for the most part, with his flex positions, tight end, kicker, defense, just stellar across the board, which is why he scored 170 points. So congratulations, Josh. That was a huge win and just amazing point total. And that's definitely going to help you kind of in the cause, right? For when you are tied with another team with the same record, points matter. And that was huge for you. So, but I did pick that one right. Josh got the victory, 1-1. I was. That moved Josh to 4-1. And unfortunately, Jay, you are 0-5. Next, let's see. It was Ian and Jeremy. I picked this as my upset of the week. I said Jeremy was going to get the win. I said defense. I said it was ugly. I said it was going to be close. And if you look at the point totals, like, geez, again, Sean 134 points, Jay 131 points, and they both lose. Ian with 102 points, and he wins. Sometimes life is not fair, especially in the world of fantasy football. But you know what? You only need to outscore the team you're playing against. Right, Clint? Right, Sean? That's how you get wins. It doesn't matter necessarily if you score 170 points like Josh did. It's great to do that, but as long as you outscore the team that you're playing, that's all that matters. And that's what Ian did here. So Ian with 102.94 points gets the win, moves to 4-1, drops Jeremy down to 1-4. Next, talking about scoring points, our number one team, still undefeated, Will. Yeah, and let's see, I'm reviewing my notes, and I picked Dez in this one. I don't know how many times, Will, I'm going to doubt you, and you're going to prove me wrong. And that's probably why. I know you were pretty aggressive. I know we were actually talking trades all the way up until like going into Sunday and so on, because I can just tell like you didn't want to lose that mark. You wanted to be 5-0, and you're thinking of moving pieces around. And you know what? You didn't need to do a damn thing. Your team was just fine. I said Dez was going to win. I said because you had Barkley on bye, and I made fun of likely, called him highly unlikely. If I remember right, he actually had decent day. Actually, you subbed him out. You ended up going with Parkinson, who had 12.2 points, which is still not all that bad. Likely would have had 16 for you, even would have been better. But still, a great point total for your team, right? 147 points. Burrow, man, 34 points. That's nice to have. More, 27. Your kicker, your defense, pretty good. So, kind of the same stories we've been talking about, right? Dez scores 121 points, which is pretty respectable, but he's up against a juggernaut, the powerhouse of the league in Will, who scored 147 points. Tough to beat. The only team that would have beat that, right? Actually, Adam would have beat him, and Josh would have beat him, but you know what? Will didn't play either of those two, so that doesn't matter. So, Will, again, sorry I doubted you. 1, 2, 3... Yeah, definitely. Always sorry I doubted you by picking Dez on here, which is crazy that I did. Now looking back at it, but Will got the win. So that was another one that I actually got wrong. So that dropped me then to 1 and 3 on my pick. So as we can see, man, it was awful. I picked Sean incorrectly. I picked Jeremy incorrectly. I picked Dez incorrectly. All right, let's make it up then. What was the next one on the slate? It was Jake versus John. And this is the one I got right. I said John was going to win on here, and he did. I said John had the advantage running back and tight end. Jake had Taylor out. Quarterback was pretty much a toss-up, and just Jake hasn't had the luck, and John has. John's only scored 108 points. But you know what? That was enough to win because it's just exactly what we've been talking about. You played a team that only scored 94 points. So, Jake, you're killing me, man. 94 points. But, all right. Anyways, we're going to talk about that in a minute here. So, but that's one I got right. So, 2 and 3 on my picks so far. So, and then the last one, as we talk about close games, that was between myself and Clint. Another pick that I got wrong, which dropped me down to 2 and 4 on my picks. But you know what? Again, anytime I pick against myself and I end up winning, I'm totally fine with blowing that pick on there. I mean, Clint had the advantage. It's just, again, goes to show you how things can swing so much. After that Thursday night game and Evans having 2 touchdowns, I think I even talked about it on the predictions video that, like, it could have been so much worse. He was headed to having a monster game, and then they didn't really look his way after that. And if he would have had one more touchdown, like that would have been the difference as of right there. But you know what? They didn't. And then you can never predict injuries. I mean, Achane going down. I was watching that game. I was watching Red Zone and saw him go down with I believe it was a concussion. You never root for anybody to get hurt, of course. But, when it's on your opponent's team, yeah, you just kind of, go, oh, that sucks. Turn away and then just keep an eye on the point totals as I started getting a little bit closer. Then, of course, sealed the deal with the Monday night game when everything finalized. And, Kareem Hunt ended up having enough points between that and the Chiefs defense to be able to pull off the win. So, again, another one I got wrong. Didn't care. I enjoy the win in the victory and moving to 4-1 and knocking Clint down to 3-2. So, 2 and 4 on my picks for the week. But, again, don't care. Because that's all for fun. What's really important, and let's talk about that now, that's the standings. So, number 1 in the league, still undefeated, William Plunkett. He gets with that the song choice for the week 6 prediction. So, kind of decide, could it have been do the recap video for week 5 or start the new week? So I decided then whoever is number one then will get their choice and gives them a few extra days to think about it of what the song choice will be for starting that next week. So whoever's number one, and maybe it's going to be Will every single week throughout here. But just kind of, that person gets the choice of what song is going to set the tone for the week and what are we going to use as our intro song. So I know Will's already gave me an idea. I'll kind of text him back and try to see, what he wants to finalize on as the song that he feels like is going to bring him good luck next week again and possibly another victory and stay undefeated. So playoffs. Let's talk about playoffs. So top six, of course, we all know make the playoffs. We've got 4 teams at 4-1 sitting pretty with Ian, Josh, John, and myself all sitting at 4-1, and then Clint sitting at 3-2. And that's all we have for teams with winning records, right? Everybody else below that then. Because if you think about it, 5 teams have either 4-1 or 5-0 records. Man, that's a lot of wins between that many teams. That must mean that, some of us are struggling. So we have, 2 2-3 teams, 2 1-4 teams, and 2 0-5 teams. Again, lots of season left to play. And I kind of mentioned it, this is kind of next on my list to kind of go over a little bit, was, for myself being commissioner and doing these videos, jumping on people's bandwagons. And I made the prediction, right, at the beginning of the season that Jake, I love your team. It was going to be amazing. You're going to be untouchable. You're going to be number one. You're going to be undefeated for a while. You lost week 1. I said you'll rebound, still plenty of time. Then you lost week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. I'll officially say, Jake, I am off your bandwagon. I am not choosing you to make the playoffs any longer. But hey, still get some wins, knock some other people out of the playoffs, just not me. And then, of course, if we remember right, I jumped on Dez's bandwagon and said it was he was 2-0, scored a ton of points and was just doing well, and said, man, now I think Dez is the powerhouse. He has the best team in the league, and I think he's going to be the one who ends up with the number 1 seed. And sure enough, as soon as I did that, then he loses 3 weeks in a row. Sorry, Dez. I will leave your name out my mouth, apparently, because it's bad luck for anybody that I root on. So, but speaking of bad luck and those that I jump on the bandwagon and ruining their season, I've got a new team. And I said on chat last night that I was toying with who I wanted to, talk about and kind of say they're my new pick for finishing as possibly one of the top seeds, if not the top seed. And I'm going to stay with who I was thinking at, and that's Josh. Josh, what you've done so far this year is amazing. 4-1, because if you just think about it, right, his number 1 pick, which was his keeper, right, hasn't played. The man's been very smart with his keepers, who he's picked up on waiver wire, having the backup for his number 1 running back who's not playing as of right now, and subbing him in. I think that the test will be right with Nico Collins. And I don't recall how long he's going to be out. I know he's on IR, so that means it's going to be multiple weeks and so on. So that will be something that Josh will have to overcome, but we're all dealing with injuries. So my new team that I'm jumping on the bandwagon, that's you, Josh. Good luck. Hopefully that doesn't curse you. I don't do this to curse you. I just say that I love what you've done so far for the year, and keep it up. That, of course, is taking nothing away from the almighty Will, who is undefeated and number 1. Will, I still love your team. I'm going to stop doubting you. And you are number 1. You deserve that. But I just think, I like what Josh has also done with his team. So, and kind of to wrap everything up, we talked about it before in some of the other videos about what it takes to make the playoffs, right? Last year, in our sleeper league, 8-6 was the mark that you needed to be. You needed to be over 500. You couldn't be 7-7. You had to be 8-6 to make the playoffs. So what does that mean? Will, at 5-0, right? He could finish the last 9 weeks at 3-9 and still make the playoffs. So that should be a very comfortable feeling, Will, that you really only need 3 more wins. So hell, you win 3 more in a row and you finish it, with 8 wins already. You, for the most part, locked into the playoffs, especially by the way it looks that it's going to be very top heavy with wins that probably almost for sure put you in the playoffs as soon as you hit that 8-win mark. And then for those teams at 4-1, you really just need to go 4-5. So the good news is, for those of us that are 4-1, let's just say, we hit a couple of bad weeks in a row. Maybe you go 1-1, maybe you lose them both. That's, fine. We actually can go less than 500 over these last 9 weeks and still make the playoffs. And then lastly, if we talk about 8-6, is that mark, right? We drop all the way down here. Jake, there's still hope, right? 8-6. So that means you need to go 8-1 over these next 9 weeks. It's possible. I loved both of your teams preseason here. Picked you both in the playoffs and said you guys did really well with keepers and drafts and all that. So you could still turn it around. There's still time. But just know that really you can only lose one more. You drop to 0-6 and then, you're pretty much, you got to win out. Which almost to the point here, you need to win almost every single week. So, but there you go. That's kind of looking at records and what it's probably going to take to make the playoffs here. And again, it's 9 weeks away. We've got a ways to go, but it's one of those to, really start thinking about, especially now as we're getting to, the heart of injuries, but free agents and pickups, bye weeks, but then of course trades. I don't believe we've had much activity for trades as of yet. I know we've had some trade offers and not a ton of responses as of yet. But I think as we start to get probably over these next couple of weeks, that's when typically trades start to go through as, playoff teams are trying to finalize, maybe shorten up their depth and willing to move some depth for some more quality people or vice versa. Or if you're looking for some depth, and things like that. You just got to remember, of course, your keeper positions. If you're looking to move anybody, that you just got to be careful on what that could do for next year. If you end up moving somebody who would be a perfect keeper, and just keep that in mind when you're doing your trades. That it's much more than just value this year. There's also the possibility of that value for next year. So, all right, that's all we've got for the Week 5 recap. Again, congrats to those teams that won, and special shout out to our number 1 team still, and that's Will. Talk to you guys later.